Hi, I'm Jerry Bennett, Mayor of the City of D-Palos Hills, and I'm a candidate for Congress in the 3rd Congressional District.
So why are you running?
I'm running for multiple reasons. Certainly this congressman, in his action as supposedly a Democrat, it's not taken place. I mean, he has been voting with Bush on the war in Iraq. He has been an anti-choice candidate, anti-stem cell candidate. He has been not progressive on the issues of health care that have come across his opportunity and his desk in Washington to vote for, and he's been against it. He's also voted against, as far as I'm concerned, some good local programs, a COPS program. President Clinton back in the 1990s started a program where he put 100,000 police officers on the street, and with that many cops in the street, crime goes down. The Bush administration eliminated it. Last year, that program came up again for a vote, and he voted against it. So I also don't consider him to be a friend of local government.
Mm-hmm. So you said you were the mayor of Palos Hills, and tell me a little bit about that. What in your background makes you qualified to be a member of Congress?
Yeah, I was elected in 1981 at the age of 30 to the office of mayor, and for the last 27 years, I've worked hard to balance budgets, deliver services, and we have one of the lowest municipal property tax rates in Cook County. So I came into the job, the city had been under an old administration, turned it around. We're a very progressive city. In fact, we think a model for the southwest suburban area. So I've worked very hard over those years to be a mayor who's very conscious and certainly very reactive to the needs of our local people.
Well, I saw when I walked in that you had all these mayors who'd endorsed you. So why don't you tell me a little bit about that? How did you win the endorsement of 80 mayors, as you said?
Well, I think what's happened during the 27 years, a couple years after I became mayor, I saw the need to go outside of my boundaries, that I knew we can only do so much locally, and we needed to reach out. So 25 years ago, I formed the Southwest Conference of Mayors. It's made up of the 21 Southwest suburban communities, and through that organization, we began to work with each other on things like economic development, on transportation issues, and those type of things led us to believe that we needed to look at this Southwest region as an important economic hub for the metro area. We felt we were always shortchanged in a lot of ways, and we came together as one voice, certainly to go down to Springfield to start reminding them that there's more than an area in this region that needed the type of assistance that we felt we deserved, and we were very successful. And additional trains to the Southwest Suburban Line. We actually fought very hard for the revitalization of Midway Airport. People remember in the days when that thing was a shuttered, lonely place, and we worked hard with business people in that region to help get that back on board. So those are the strengths of that conference. 2 years later, from that conference, we then formed Southwest Central Dispatch, which is a cooperative of about 17 or 18 municipalities in both the southwest and western suburbs, bringing all dispatchers under one roof. It's a state-of-the-art dispatching center, a nationally accredited center. We're saving the town's money by being under one roof, and again, delivering some of the best quality first responder services from that agency. From there, I've became chairman of the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus about 7 or 8 years ago. Mayor Daley formed that organization. It represents all 272 municipalities in the metro region, almost 8 million people. And again, start looking at bigger regional problems that we face, whether it was housing, diversity, issues on transportation. In fact, from that agency, 3 years ago, we went downstate, wrote legislation to merge two organizations that existed, the Northeast Illinois Planning Commission and the Chicago Transportation Study, all under one roof. This organization is the largest land planning and transportation organization in the country, and we handle now all the transportation dollars coming from the Fed and state for its disbursement throughout the region. But we also are involved in future planning of the region, how to be better at smart growth, urban congestion, environmental issues, housing issues. Those are such problems that we have now, and we're going to set out a vision for the next 30 years as to how we think the metro area is going to survive. From those organizations, to answer your question, almost 80 mayors in the metro area are supporting me in this election because they've worked with me, they've seen my leadership, my ability to bring people together to build a consensus and to come together as one voice for strength down in Springfield. And we know the mess that's down there. In fact, last session, our agency, because we also had to get then a permanent state funding, we were one of the few people that walked away from Springfield with almost a unanimous decision of both houses to support our agency. And we were able to do that because we built a consensus of Chicago, suburban, and county officials to say we're all on the same page and we believe that this is the future of our region. Please support us in it. And we got that legislation passed. So mayors in this region are excited about me running in this race. They're excited to have a mayor who understands local issues, who understands how those local issues apply to the federal government and how the federal government can then further assist local officials. So that's why I've got 80 mayors. Okay,
so talk a little bit about this federal city alliance that you talk about at various times.
Yeah, when you talk about where the future of this country is going to go, this war has cost us 4,000 lives, and it has also cost this country $1 trillion, and we are in serious problems because of the not investing in local government. 79% of the gross national product in this country is generated from cities and villages. Why would you not have a close partnership with the federal government? It's the economic engine that feeds the nation. I've strongly believed, and certainly working with mayors, and the concept isn't necessarily new, but it's finally catching on. Reports of Brookings Institute, even the New York Times have come out with articles about a stronger federal-city relationship. That the federal government needs to pull its attention, if we're going to rebuild this nation, to look at programs that can help feed that economic engine, that can continue to have metropolitan areas thrive with diversity, with jobs, with good transportation, both surface and the metro transit. I'm sorry, transit situation. So those are the kind of things I want to go to Washington with a clear agenda of how we can help the region in those kind of programs.
So what is the most important issue that we face today?
I think this country, besides the importance of getting out of this war, and I believe with a new Democratic president come November and a new Congress, I'm excited about working on a national agenda. And I believe those are the issues that I could bring to Washington tomorrow if I were elected. Setting up this federal-city relationship. And that agenda is, again, to reinvest in the country, infrastructure, environmental issues. This president has never really had a clear energy plan. He's never really had a national agenda. It's been corporate interest. It's been our involvement in this war for the last 6 years. That's going to change, and I want to be part of that change in that new direction. And I think I can do that with the type of programs that I think the federal government can start investing in.
I heard one of your supporters say that Dan Lipinski was closer to Mark Kirk and President Bush than he was to you as the mayor of Palos Hills. You want to talk a little bit about
exactly. That? Another reason why I'm running in this race is that besides the conservative, very conservative positions that this congressman has taken, because of his lack of experience and certainly because of his inability to communicate, I've experienced that personally. He has never met with our Southwest Conference of Mayors. To the best of my knowledge, he has not even met with the West Suburban mayors on an issues-oriented conversation. He has had a lack of communication, clearly a lack of communication in this district. And again, he represents the city of Chicago and the suburbs. And that need to get out there and find out what the issues are. If you don't know, if you can't communicate, you're never going to know what the issues are, and therefore you're not going to be able to solve problems. And his inability to communicate has been critical in his 3 years.
Yeah. So what would be your goals as a congressman?
I think the first goal is to, and we're going through some tough economic times, that the economy in this country with the highest deficits in its history going on right now, that there's going to have to be some belt tightening. That's without a doubt. But I think a reprioritization of federal spending into a national agenda is very important. That's number one issue that I would look at. And when you look at the type of priorities, there's also a great deal of waste that's going on in this country. The Homeland Security money. I know it personally. We try to go to Washington and try to add on to our dispatching center, first responder dispatching center. And because of the bureaucratic layers that have been set up by this president, that money has to go from the Fed to the state to the county. We never get it. And the monies and the little research I've done on that money, the millions of dollars that have been wasted, sent to places like Montana or Utah, when that money should have been set up for security of airports, any type of transportation area where security is needed. And then to also to provide the type of improvement to first responders. It's been wasted. And those are the type of huge dollars that are out there right now, along with the $1 trillion spent on this war, again, under a reorganization and a budget and setting up national priorities of agendas for working with local governments, I think are critical.
What have been the top 3 issues in the campaign for you?
I think in dealing certainly with the conservatism of this congressman, I think in people's lack of respect of what happened and how he got in, he came in under a negative right off the bat by his father appointing him to that seat. And third, his inability again to communicate. I've also talked to and have worked through the various agencies that I represent. I've been out in the community. I've worked with business leaders. I've worked with community organizations, with citizens. Any agency we're on, we have a citizens forum as part of those agencies. He hasn't reached out to them. And I've talked to these groups, and he has ignored them, he's avoided them, and it's wrong. This is one of the most diverse congressional districts, I think, in the country. And you've got to understand that diversity, you've got to reach out to that diversity and work with that diversity. He has not done that.
Well, he came from Western Kentucky, so, and it's not really a surprise that he doesn't understand the community. What are the 2 congressional committees you'd like to sit on?
Certainly transportation, the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning, again, the largest land planning and transportation agency in the nation, gives me I've got great experience, understanding of those type of issues, to want to sit on that type of committee in Congress. And one of the first things I would do is try to initiate a new program on urban transit. We have to wait every 4 years for the federal government to come up with their highway transportation program. It's too long a period of time. And certainly this metro area is in desperate need of capital investment to improve its transit and also its road projects, bridges, roads. Those are the kind of things that are very, very costly. And again, a prioritization of the federal budget and going into those type of investments are the kind of things I'd like to work on and be involved in. The other thing, certainly appropriations or
that's ambitious.
Yeah, or ways and means. But I think with certainly my executive experience too, and understanding budgets and priorities and how you have to set them out, that would be a challenge that I would look forward to possibly sitting on those committees.
Mm-hmm. So how do you plan on implementing your goals while you're in office?
Well, I think the first thing to do is and I don't have to go out and research anything. I think being in touch with mayors and political leaders, business community, and there's a great partnership that exists in this metro area that, we quietly go about our business. We haven't waved a lot of flags, and a lot has been accomplished, and it's building partnerships, with the business and the local government people to go about setting out agendas, and whether it doesn't have to be all federal subsidized type of things, there's a lot of potential partnerships out there, or not-for-profits that are right now working to make improvements. And those are the kind of coalitions and consensuses that I've built up with these agencies over the years to set out programs and possibly now to get federal funding to make those programs come true.
As you know, I'm a blogger, and when I talked about doing these kinds of interviews, I opened it up to other bloggers, and there's a couple questions that I want to ask that they suggested. And the first one is, do you plan on joining the Progressive Caucus?
I think my record of being a progressive Democrat, certainly I would join a caucus like that. But I think it's also important to understand that what's divided this nation over the last 8 years with this president has been strictly on the social issues. We need to, again, refocus on the national issues, and certainly the caucuses are out there. If they're not out there, I would certainly like to form one with the large metropolitan cities to really have a strong voice in Washington about, again, investing in local governments.
Yeah, I don't know if there's an urban agenda caucus, but there certainly could be. Another question that they asked was, when is it important to uphold the Constitution, and when is other business more important?
I became mayor 27 years ago and took oath of office, not only swearing to the Constitution of the state, but the country. And this administration has trampled all over the Constitution. The Patriot Act, the the black eye that this nation has suffered with Guantanamo and Abu Ghraib, it's something that's should have been left to the judicial review. He didn't do it. He decided to step over the Constitution, and that's something that I would definitely oppose in the future.
So you support habeas corpus?
Yes, absolutely.
So what kind of response have you been getting from voters?
It's been great. I've been all over this district, and it's not new to me. I mean, I've worked with this district, with the mayors in this district, with the other political leaders in this district, community organizations, business organizations. But what I'm hearing from the people is once they hear my credentials, once they see the 27 years of experience in leadership, chairing for major organizations, metropolitan mayors organizations that I've been involved in, and the results that have come from those things. And again, they're quiet things. They're not necessarily we wave our flag, but they're solid type of programs that will change, that are changing now and changing things in the future. I'm getting a great reaction. Again, whether it's from Beverly to Berwyn, from Western Springs to the 23rd Ward, once people hear my credentials, know the story, and that's what elections should be all about, finding out about the candidates, picking the one that is going to go beyond the elections, going to go beyond the fight, and once the election's over with, who's going to roll up their sleeves and truly represent this district. Without a doubt, I've got 10 times the credentials of all these candidates, including the congressmen, on what I can bring to Washington.
Mm-hmm. As you know, having been in a campaign, campaigns start from very small beginnings and scale up very quickly, and it's all about the close. It's all about Election Day. So why should people vote for you?
I think, again, if you look at this race, and especially an opportunity, a rare opportunity, we fought an American Revolution to end monarchy in this country, and unfortunately in the 3rd District it still exists. We've got a congressman who was put in there, and I don't even know sometimes whether he even wanted to be in this job. They have an opportunity to change a congressional district this time around with a good, solid candidate, with a person who's got leadership, who's got experience, who's got a track record that can make a difference in Washington, represent this district. Again, I understand the diversity of this district. I understand the people of this district. I'm in the trenches every day. It comes from my town to the towns that I've worked with. I represent pretty much with these agencies over all these years. I'm a candidate who can bring and work, and I'm excited about working in a new direction in this country with the ideas and certainly the track record of so-called change. And
I like to end these interviews with a kind of personal touch. So what else should voters know about you?
I'm the true Southwest Sider in this race. Grew up in the 13th Ward of the city of Chicago, one of 13 brothers and sisters, the son of an Irish immigrant, hardworking middle-class family. Got married, moved to the Beverly, Mount Greenwood area for a couple of years before coming out to D-Palos Hills and getting involved out here and running for mayor in 1981. Actually, even back in the Mount Greenwood Beverly days in the late 60s, that's how I cut my teeth politically. I got involved with the Independent Voters of Illinois, working as a canvasser, and kind of cut my teeth in politics back then, which gave me, and it was a great social time to grow up, great social time in the late 60s with all the changes that were going on. And I pledged to myself in 1981 when I ran for mayor that I would only do this to make a difference. And I think I have. I think with 80 mayors backing me in this race, with business people backing me, who know me, who've seen me build coalitions, who've seen me lead agencies to make a difference now, and probably even more so in the future. They're excited about me getting in this race. They want to see somebody's got some experience, some background and knowledge. Unfortunately, what we don't have in Washington that can make a difference in the future. That's what I want to get across to the voters, and I think I have, and those who have interacted with me and get to know me, I think can see that I'm clearly the choice in this race.
Well, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you.